Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's been a minute for the Unfiltered, but we took a little break for the birthday celebration and we are back in full swing and we are changing things up a bit. I know previously all the videos were people that migrated to Canada, but I also think it's important for us to know if this is like a Canada thing or persons that are migrating to other places should also consider some of the challenges that we are facing. So stay tuned on this video to find out who my special guest is. Welcome to Unfiltered Truth, Journey of Canadian Immigrants. Join us every other week where we talk to a new person about their adventure in Canada. Are you interested in coming? Then this is for you.
Special guest.
Welcome, Kemar. Y'all don't know him yet on this channel. This is his first big debut. But his
Like that.
YouTube is Yadi Links. So make sure you guys check out Yadi Links. Um, Podcast, YouTube channel, the whole works. Welcome, Kemar.
Going.
Pick up
Well,
yourself. So just a little background about me and Kemar. I actually met Kemar
tell the truth
what
and
year
the
back?
whole truth.
2013?
Yeah. Nah, at 2013?
No.
At 2012 and at 2012, yeah.
Yeah, 2012 when we were both were in Jamaica at UTech studying our engineering degree. And then Kemar migrated to America. And so we are getting somebody new from America, new perspective from someone that migrated from the Caribbean to America. So, Kemar, I want you to walk us through the transition because at the time you were a young adult, you were just leaving, well, you were mid university. What was that transition from university in Jamaica and the overall transition to America?
All right. So overall transition. First of all, big up to all of your followers and thing. Hello, I'm Kemar. Nice to meet you. that that too proper.
No, that's fine.
All right. So, start with the initial transition. So I came here, it was February, and so immediately, having never traveled before, coming a snow, that was like the craziest snowstorm them having a while. Coming from a tropical country and snowstorm immediately, pretty much. It was a state of emergency at that point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a couple inches of snow. So that was a experience. Of course, the first day when you see all this snow, me I go with the night for
Exciting,
the one time. But after that, I'm like, please just go, just stop.
right?
So yeah, that was an experience.
So I guess going there and getting the paperwork part wasn't difficult because somebody was sponsoring you. That's what we call it in Canada. In America, of course, somebody have filed for you.
Hmm.
Want to talk about a big one is that technically you're not an international student, but in terms of transition, you're now an international student. Talk us through that and what did that look like for you?
All right. So first thing, let me just give you the whole, starting college and all that.
Yeah.
So when I came here in February, so at that time, like, I was in UTech. I was in UTech, so I didn't just like drop out of UTech immediately. I asked for what do you ask when you ask for a semester off? What's that?
Leave of absence.
Yeah, I asked for that for like that whole semester, and then as soon as I got here, first of all, before that, before I even got here, I did. So the transition start from you. I don't know if you already know you come, and I mean if you value education or if you think you go college or something, you have to start your research from early. So I
Hmm.
had the, I did that from like early, from probably before I graduated high school or sixth form. So I did the SAT from
Oh,
Jamaica. Yeah, so like before me start UTEP, me do SAT. I knew I was going at some point. I didn't know when, because if I knew when, I probably wouldn't have started UTEC. Probably would have just start work. But you know how the whole filing thing goes. Like things
unpredictable.
start from to my knowledge, it started from like 2005. I'm never make it until 2014. So
Right.
good thing we never know, because if me didn't know, wouldn't go six form. So 4 years I like, academic stuff
We
where actually we
help.
use today. Yeah, wouldn't have that. So um yeah, so the prep start from then, for college start from then. So as soon as I got here, and also I'd signed up with this website. I forgot the name of it, but the people them who facilitate the SATs, like College Board or something like that.
Mm,
So before I got here, I was like looking up like potential schools like nearby where I would be living, right?
mm-hmm,
So when we come here now, immediately send out applications. Application them was like, I think like $30 per application. Georgia Tech was like 60. I had them extra expensive. So I sent out two application, was Georgia Tech and Southern Polytech like Southern Polytechnic State University. That's
mm-hmm.
the first. That's the first one. That's the first two I sent. The only two I sent out applications, because they were the only two close enough that offered the type of engineering I wanted to do. So I did that. I got accepted to Southern Poly, and they accepted me to start in August. So like pretty much would really waste no time. So they accept me for August. Um, but you know, come up fresh now, I have no money now, I really have nobody, like say.
Give you
At
any.
this point I'm an adult. It's like no handouts, it just work for where you want, right? So lucky enough to get a job like March, like within a month of being here. So the lucky thing I always tell people, even on my channel, um I was lucky enough. Some things you're gonna need: your green card for sure, and then like social security number, right? And I was lucky enough to get mine within 2 weeks of being here. So while some other family members who even come up like a couple weeks before me didn't have theirs, mine was just ready. And so I got that. I got a job, and I'm gonna
So
work.
talk us through the getting the job, because now you technically are fresh. Like you're a freshie. You just come to
Yeah,
school. Basically, not much work experience doing much of anything really.
yeah,
And I know for here in Canada, it can be difficult and it can take a while, especially if your resume like have that you have a whole degree or you're in school
yeah.
or whatnot. It's hard to get like part-time jobs or um, I don't want to say simple jobs. I don't want to use that term. I'm trying to look for the better word. The jobs that's not in the field that you're looking to work in. So let's say, for example, Walmart, Starbucks, whatever.
Yeah.
I find that here, when you have some, well, for some people, when you have when you don't have experience and you have like this degree and whatnot and you're
Mm.
outside of Canada, for some people it's hard to get, but for others it might be easy. What was your experience? What was even on your resume?
I didn't even need a resume for this, like honestly, because the thing, you can't look the bougie job then. So I never need no resume. All I needed was I just went to what do you call them, uh
Mm,
temp agency, and sign up. But really, this was like also a special case, because the temp agency was literally in the place where I was working at. I mean, they'd find other jobs for other locations, but this particular I guess they call it manufacturing plant, was they had the temp agency, like they had an office within that building, and they were just focusing on that. So I went there, and I think really them just look upon people and say, all right, you look fit, look like you can do work, or and just pick
yeah.
somebody. And them hire a whole bunch of people, but it's like a hard work doing it. Them pay at the time was like 750 an hour, right?
Oh,
And
minimum wage.
yeah, minimum wage plus you get overtime too. But the overtime crazy, because sometimes I'd going from like it's like 7 to like 7 really. So that's already 12 hours plus, and that's a good day when you get out at 7. More while at like 8, 9 o'clock. So the overtime was crazy, and but it was from Monday to Saturday, so you know really get no time to spend money or even relax or anything like that.
So hold
So.
feel about that because like back home, I don't know if there's. I honestly don't know if there's temp agencies in Jamaica, and I also don't know if a lot of people know that there are a lot of temp agency here in Canada. And so for
Mm,
people that want a survival job or a job that will pay to help them to get by day, there are a lot of temp agency that will hire you even if there's
yeah.
no resume. They literally need headcount. Like, and they mostly hire for manufacturing plants because they need the numbers, they need the hands, they need the manual labor.
Hmm.
And so I guess that was how it started off for you, which is great, right? But how was that job, and how did they treat people? Because I know here sometimes those type of places that the temp agents not already none at all.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think along the right lines because at this place it was fast paced. It was hard. You remember how long me tell him I work, and for that whole time you only get like 30 minutes lunch. But I mean, we get like 10 minutes break like every 2 hours. I think you get 10 minutes. But still, I
Just-
mean, 10 minutes. By the time you walk, go to the bathroom and come back, 10 minutes done.
exactly.
So
And it's similar.
so
There's a lot of companies that only give you 30 minutes lunch.
yeah, it was crazy. But after I mean, I adjusted pretty quickly because I mean, back home, I was active, not play ball every now and then, and well, pretty much every day back then. So I guess we could have some of it fit. I mean, it kind of just really fit.
Mhm.
So it never too bad, but I mean, regardless of that though, even though I handled it well, like it's still them still overwork you and like underpay you for sure, because that 750 a little bit that
So
don't
did
make sense.
right? So did you stay in that until to go back to school in August? What was that like? What
Oh,
was the plan after that, or what happened?
oh yeah, so it's a whole life story, man, again, man. So I'm gonna get the job, and then remember get the job in March, and I was accepted to start school in August. The between August and when I got accepted, there was like orientation at the school. I
Mhm.
went there, check out the campus, and them give you, like a syllabus, and I meet couple professors and thing, and then them tell me how to sign up and all that. But I ended up moving my enrollment to the following to spring to January. So I
Okay.
just continued to work at this place until could I save up some money and be ready for school.
Okay.
So
You
that
deferred. You can make
yeah,
some.
deferred enrollment to till spring.
Okay, cool.
So I worked this job from March till like early December because I ended up like leaving like uh
Oh.
early December. Took like 3 weeks to go back home, and then when I came back here, it was just school. Like
Oh,
literally
I saw you. You came back home. What?
yeah, the same time I come look for you. Remember?
Oh, true, 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 true. Okay, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember. All right. Um, so you were working 12 hours, 6 days a week, just straight from your land.
straight.
Oh, that's crazy. Wow. All right. So now is January. Oh, well, now is December. You took the 3 weeks. You come to Jamaica, driving up and down with us. Then
Yeah.
the reality. What was reality like? Like, what was the transition, and how did that look in terms of
Um.
fees and everything?
Well, the transition never really, and like it wasn't too crazy. Like it wasn't like a wow. Like I feel like it just slowly I'm gonna start realize things how them do things. So
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't just like an immediate like hit. But I mean I could definitely at times I could definitely see how things were different from how we do things back home. Cause remember, so them end up putting me back in a pre-calc class, right? Even though I have all that stuff. So let me say this: the transfer of credits if you start school already, it's a process. because really me think, I mean, everything them a try and make money, right? So them really, if them want, if you do about them classes, they forget the money fee. Them as much as them can, them a go try to make that happen. So that's why I'm end up doing pre-calc, because we already match that up from UTech days.
Right.
So have- may end up do in a pre-calc class because the credits weren't transferred. It's a whole process. Remember, I told you I started the process of you know, like preparing for college. So when I got here, just going back a little bit from January. So when I got here, I sent. I think the only money me they have at the time was to do this. So like sometime between February and March when me I make applications to school, I sent my transcript from high school and college UTech.
Mm-hmm.
I sent that to a place called West
But
World Educate.
good to know. So you guys also do a WIS assessment.
Yeah,
Like if you,
World Education Services to evaluate your transcript.
yeah,
Yes.
so we have to do it in Canada as well. When we are applying for like permanent residency, you have to get
Yeah.
an assessment to say your degree is equivalent to theirs.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I didn't have a degree, but the coursework already,
Mm-hmm.
accumulated at that point. They would, evaluate it to see what I could, transfer over, what I could get credits for and all that. So I sent it to them, and then you must know that, you have the option of sending, like forwarding that info to whatever school you're applying for. So I had, sent that to the schools. So jump back now to
January.
January when we start the school. Um, them never have it. I guess them only use it for the admission process. So in actually trying to get credits, I still had to present them like every class I'm gonna do what I want transferred. I had
So
to get all those syllabus or whatever syllabi, whatever. I don't know where it go. Syllabus is. But anyways, so I had to get those. You actually helped me to get them. You remember me there send you on you take secure them for me. Yes,
mm-hmm.
I had to get breakdown of all of the course, what them cover in the course so they can actually say, all right, you can get this amount of credits because that actually helped a lot because later down in my because Jamaica more advanced in the academics because I ended up not using some of those credits that could be transferred. I ended up not getting to that point until like my third year here. I
Mm-hmm.
remember I only did a year and a half at UTech. so so when we get to my third year here, that's when I could apply some of those credits because there was
Wow.
a point where I was only doing labs and not like the regular classes because the lab I already covered like the theoretical stuff already from UTech days.
Wow. That's
So
impressive.
so it's very important. Like make sure you send your stuff to West, especially if you already have like a degree from Jamaica. Send it to West, get it evaluated, and make them know say, pian pian, you're repeating.
So, all right, cool. You in school, and we clearly see that you get to third year, but are you working? What does that look like? Because now you left the temp agency.
Yeah,
You would have had some work experience now to put on, like you can do like a resume now.
yeah.
What did you do at that time?
Well, alright. So at this time, again, yeah, you have something to put on a resume. But alright, so how the thing go here? I personally feel like you don't really need a resume till you really get to like professional stuff, really.
Oh, really?
Like I'm just a professional. I'm talking like, you're an engineer and I'm an engineer and if, whatever you go college go do. I feel like resume needed for that stuff, but if you go college like I was, um
Mhm.
and of course you don't have much experience, like work experience, or you're not trying to do if you're going to college full time, let's point that out. Full time is 12 credit hours, that's like four classes.
That's actually interesting that you're saying that. Like, that you don't necessarily need a resume. I know this was probably a little while back. Well, not that far back. We're not that old. Um, but probably like 3 years ago or so. Um, but you're saying you don't need a resume to apply for even like, I guess, what's you guys coffee shop like Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and Walmart and those places. You don't.
No, and the reason I'm saying you don't need like a actual, paper resume that you hand to them is because when you apply to places like that, you're doing it online. They're gonna ask you your work history. So that's all the same thing on your resume. You're already entering it. So
Oh,
they're not, yeah, they're not like taking like
actual
an
upload.
actual upload.
Hmm.
So because when I did Walmart, so really, I had a I have an aunt working at Walmart for like years. At the time, it was probably like 9 years since she was working there. So um, she recommended me going there, which was a good best recommendation ever, because I ended up working Walmart throughout my whole college time.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I just went online. At the time too, the Walmart still had the little computer you could just apply immediately inside. But I mean, I didn't mind online. You select the position you'd want to work, like, if you want to cashier or work in the back room, unload or load, stock shelves. So I chose cashiering. So
So
yeah.
sidebar. Because you said so, we can assume that Walmart is generally a good place to like work in terms of pay and stuff like that.
Nah. Well, in terms of pay, I think that them bumped the thing up. No, at the time it was still the same 725, 750, whatever it was at the time. Um, but I chose to work there because it was I know like every semester I could change my schedule. The Walmart was 24 hours at that time, before the whole quarantine and all that. Walmart was 24 hours. So I could always, every semester when my classes change and my school schedule change, I could always go back to my supervisor and say, hey, this is my new availability, and they'll schedule me for work during that time.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Cool. All right, awesome. I guess we spotted some differences and some similarities there, which was great. So you come up, you graduate. I think this is also another big one is that you are at this point you would technically be an American now and not necessarily an international student like when you were just starting previous to your degree, because now you would have gone through the school system, now you
Mm.
would have had work experience. And I think one of the things that Canadians and people that come from outside of Canada to come to Canada is getting jobs, in their field, or getting like a proper paying job. But coming from the other side, we'd also like to see the other perspective, what that looks like when you left school with now your engineering degree. What was that transition like? Was it a lot easier to get pay? Was it easier to get a job? And how would you say the starting pay looks like? Do you think they shortchange young students or young adults, or how? Like, give me some perspective there.
All right. You actually said something I wanted to add something to. You talk about the whole international student thing. I think one reason I ended up pushing back my like starting school in January was so I could be classified in state versus international out of state. It's not
Oh,
really international. It's like out of state or in state, right? So in order to be classified that in Georgia, I don't know about other states, but in Georgia you had to be a resident for 12 months, like 12 consecutive months. You had to be like living in Georgia.
oh,
So
but if not, you would not be.
but if not, yeah, so if not, you, even if you had a green card, if not, you have to pay out of state tuition fees, which is like double in state. So that's one main reason I pushed it back to January. So because by that time I would have already gone like close to 12 months, right? So and that is important too because certain what you call it, like award or reward, whatever, like grants and stuff that would impact if you're eligible or not.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's yeah, so that's something to consider. Like,
That is definitely different. That is definitely different. Um, I think across the board, it's just international students and domestic students,
mm,
regardless of the province. So in Canada, it's
mm,
province. In the US, it's states. And yeah, you can go cross border. Shouldn't affect you. It's just international student, which we pay like 3 or 4 times what domestic pays.
yeah, yeah, way for make money, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So tell us about the transition now and what what's your thoughts on it and the pay range and the availability of jobs and so forth.
All right, so after I graduated and try seeking jobs, it's a different process versus when I just got here and trying to get just something just to pay the bills. So it's different in the sense that no one actually get to the paper resume, and this is where you're going to put all your relevant work experience, which I didn't have. So because as I said, I was working through the temp agency, and and then that didn't even relate to my major, right? I did construction engineering,
Mm-hmm.
then Walmart, that's cashiering, and I had an internship just before I started, just before I graduated, but that was in more of like more towards the electrical side, like low voltage stuff. But it did give me some like basic project management experience, right? But I wanted to be on the design side of things. So in applying like straight out of college, I didn't have an internship in construction engineering either, and that
Mm-hmm.
would have been very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So for any all your viewers, like if you're whatever you do at college, it's good to try to get an internship. It's not always about making money. Sometimes if you can manage to handle like two jobs, like I was doing, I had Walmart and then I had this internship. If you can handle like adding those two, having two jobs plus school, um, just make sure like you have an internship in there somewhere that relate to what you're studying.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
okay, so
So in Canada, we do have internship, co-op, and work placement. They all are technically the same thing, but yeah, definitely advisable to get one. However, it can be really tedious if it's not like a
yeah.
placement. So the placement, the schools actually will place you. The co-op or the internship, sometimes you have to look for the jobs.
Yeah, it's not here, it's not you have to be you have to take the initiative on things because your school's not just gonna say, hey, it's mandatory that you go do internship. It's you have to really go
Want.
seek out. Yeah. I mean, they do provide this platform where it's kind of like LinkedIn in a sense, or maybe not LinkedIn, but more like Glassdoor or Indeed, where you go in there, you filter jobs based on your major, based on put in
Oh.
GPA, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much upload your resume on there, and that you can find internships. So that was like the school based thing I was using. I used that. I couldn't find any. I had to Google stuff and call the people them and tell them, hey, and that's how I ended up with the internship, which, as I said before, it wasn't really relevant to what I wanted to do.
Yeah, but
So
still initiative, and that's
yeah,
like one of the only somewhat related work experience anyways.
yeah,
So it seeing that now you don't really have much on your resume, you have related as that one internship, and then you have all the other work experience, but now you actually do have your degree.
Mm-hmm.
How was that like? One thing is to get like a proper resume ish, but what about like the application processing and getting back callback?
All right, so um, trying. All right, so the my approach to it was before I graduated, like maybe like a month or month and a half before I finished with my courses, there was a STEM career fair. So I
Mm-hmm.
went to that knowing that I'm gonna graduate in a couple months, talk to everybody nice, interesting and like and collect them information. There was an option in Minneapolis.
Applied.
Huh?
And you applied.
No, I didn't apply because that's not what I wanted to do. But the guy, he liked my energy and he thought I
Oh,
was would be fit for the program. But I didn't want to go that far.
yeah, yeah.
But so the career fair, my first job, I actually met the guys at the career fair, right? And I
Oh,
went, so I went to them. I went to I didn't even send in. I didn't send in like a actual application. Like I don't know about yours, about you, but my industry, it's all about you still the knowledge is one thing, but likability and how you present yourself, that is big. That is everything actually. Relationships, because I went. They invited me to just come to the office, and it was alumni. It was alumni from the same college, right? So I went there, and them give me some basic civil 3D like stuff for the which I never know really. It was like because again no internship. It was like my preparation going there was like 2 days before. I asked a friend who was doing. He was actually doing that class. And I was like, yo, show me a couple things. And it just happened that at the same thing, basic things them asked me for those. So I went there, I did it. And them said, all right, come back X time to meet with the boss. Right. And I went back, met the boss, and he said, he likes what he's hearing. I told him my objective, make everything pristine and nice. And he's
yeah.
like, all right, cool. Them send me an offer letter a couple days later. But no, the one that actually, this wasn't even another application. I think you probably can't use my situation for everybody because again, going back to how you present yourself and relationships, the dean at the school, the assistant dean of engineering, like I was cool with him. He's actually Jamaican too.
Mm.
So I was cool with him. Him know me I graduate and thing, and him he knows somebody who has like a company or some big position in a company. So him reach out to somebody, set up a link for me. And at the end of the day, I ended up going with the ones that I met at
The
the
fear.
the fair. And the bottom, it's a very small company. This was intentional, by the way. It was a very, very small company. It was literally just the boss, the engineer, like PE, and then you have me and three other people pretty much same level as myself, just probably a year or two more experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we would have do like the actual groundwork, the actual designing and stuff, and then the boss stamp it and make sure everything good.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very small. It was like us, then boss, like president. Am I president?
Mm-hmm.
So PA was like bottom of the scale, like the bottom of the scale PA, but definitely more than Walmart.
All right. That's gonna, I guess, sad to hear, but also is a good comparison. Absolutely, networking here is very important. I had a career coaching session recently, and somebody was we were practicing a speech, and I was saying to her, you have to be bubbly. That's kind of
Yeah.
like, and like for me, I work from home, so like when I'm going to the office, I'm usaing myself because you know you don't want to be serious. You want to come across and you want to be professional, but you also
Yeah.
come across as your true self. Like you're not gonna be grumpy or whatever, but come across as your best self. And so, who's trying to be your best self? And so I was saying to her, smile through the whole speech, smile, give gestures, and it worked because once you finish the speech, you actually got a job. And so
Mhm.
networking is so important. Like, forming a relationship, calling people, talking to people, and not being afraid to kind of reach out to people because similar to you, that's how I got my job. Was like I found like the company wasn't hiring. I found their email. I sent them an email to be like, "This is who I am." In 3 weeks, they called me, and I literally was having a whole conversation with this guy that I didn't know. Just by
Mhm.
I'm just like, "Hi, how are you?" And I'm yeah,
Yeah.
coming from work, just drive up and blah blah blah, and it kind of just flowed from there. But I say that to say it's similar across the board when you are migrating. You just need to be personable, and there's something that I see similar to your situation and mine, and probably a lot of people, is like when you need something and when you want a job, you're not gonna just stay home, watch TV, play games, blah blah blah. Networking is so important. I was going to all PMI sessions. I was at different job fairs. Even if you don't get a job, I guarantee you meet somebody and you add them to your LinkedIn. It just
Definitely.
connection until you are on your feet. But I think a lot of people miss that, and so when they come, it can be depressing, right? Like it can be depressing to come overseas in the cold and a different environment, and so you tend to kind of want to stay in. But the truth is, to get ahead faster, networking is so important, and it also pushes you up. Like sometimes, a lot of people say, "Oh, I didn't even want a job, and just my network just reached out and I doubled my pay." I mean, that's
Mhm.
like if I could double my pay right now, y'all wouldn't be seeing me. I'm
You
kidding.
be balling. Nah, no, man, no. You know, I see you.
I'm kidding, but for real though, like like that is the advantage of networking and getting to know people and helping people and stuff like that. So it's similar across the board. It's really similar.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you said something striking is that you started at the bottom, like they didn't really pay you a whole lot based on an engineering graduate. What's the scale? But a question for you is, did you negotiate?
Um, negotiate. I did somewhat. The thing is, when you're negotiating, right, you have to be doing it from a point of what is it, like strength, like when you have, yeah. But I didn't have anything to bring to the table because I didn't have an internship.
Done purposely, because like I always even tell my brother, like after when you're just starting, like you're trying to get the experience in, and it's not too much about the money, but of course we need to survive, so we're not gonna just take anything.
Yeah,
um but I say that to also put in that it's also very important that once you build that work experience, don't be afraid to negotiate,
yes,
one
that's
time.
a fact.
I'm a big negotiator. Like I am literally like a serial negotiator. My mother not used to it, and she would be like, "No, what you doing?"
Um,
But it's their generation. It's kind of like take what you
exactly,
and they.
exactly.
But I'm a kind of girl that I'm just gonna be like, "All right, listen up.
Yeah,
This is what I bring to the table. This is what I do, and what I want is 10-15% more." And
yeah,
be speaking numbers. I'm gonna be speaking percentage, so you know that. Listen, your girl knows what she say, and I'm serious. So
that is it.
I bring that point across, and I think it's a scare tactic for people. Like when you're international and you're just coming and you want a job, It's just like taking anything when you come with your, and that's why it's important sometimes when we are migrating as adults or whatever, if we can have a little extra money, like with vex money, it's so,
Mm-hmm.
because then we don't sell ourselves short. But it's also important to start from where we can start from, build on that, but don't stay in that position for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Taking me now to your next step of your journey. um I'm sure that pay, when you gather the work experience, you're kind of comfortable now. Did you stay there?
No, I'm somewhere else now. But
Negotiate.
I want to. Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I'll tell you the story too if you're interested in hearing. So, alright, so I want to go back to the first job doing it, because even though I'm tell you bottom of the scale pay, like the experience
Because
was everything. Like I couldn't, like them, me couldn't pay them enough for the experience of me get right there, right? And again, this was intentional because the other company I was applying to as well, that was a small company, so I really wanted to start off small, like for one, because I didn't have an internship before, and two, when you go to larger companies like massive, corporations, you're going to have one guy just doing A task A, one guy doing task B, one
instead
and you never learn the other, components of the job. So when you go to a small place like I did, I learned everything from ground up, from concept to permit.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that was the goal. So even though I know the pay was, I know even like, friends of mine who graduate too, I know them up there like pay wise, like experience wise, I was ahead of them, right?
um
So
just to cut, not to cut you, but just a question for me, like enough question, like what's the range for like startup, like starting like junior engineers?
I mean right now it's probably you probably could start from like mid mid 50s to like mid 60s. I
Okay.
mean, and I'm saying that without experience though. Like
Okay. All right, I think
maybe if you have experience, you start off like lower 60s.
okay, it's somewhat similar here then. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but me, I was like below 50s. I was like,
That's fine. That's fine. I
yeah.
started what, like my first role in like chemical processing was low, like low, but it was also a startup. And so I did everything across the board. Like my experience, knowing what I bring to the table at my current job, it was because of all the experiences I had, like even my project management experience. I literally started from the ground. So,
And that's why you can negotiate. That's why when you asked me if I negotiated, like I didn't, I a little like probably asked for like an extra day off or something like that. But it wasn't nothing too crazy, right? Because again, you negotiate from a point of strength. Like when you know you bring something, you're confident that yo, this is what I'm bringing. Then you can really negotiate. But sometimes like first, I didn't just take the first thing that came to me. I had questions, I had requests. That is important. And I think your employer want or your potential employer want to see that yo, you're asking for more. Because trust me, whatever them offer you first, them can do better than that. So
tell me about
even though me know, like, cause the other option, like the other place I applied to first, they said they didn't have like any openings at the time, so I was really left with one.
it. Mm-hmm.
But them no know, so you only have one, right? You have to play the game. So I was acting like I had two options, and so I asked them for a little bit, but I push them too much because if I push them away, then that may get knocked. So yeah, I did negotiate a tad bit, but nothing crazy. But jump into this next job now, that my current job. This is where I could, at this point I had like 3 years experience, three solid years. It wasn't 3 years doing a task only,
Mm-hmm.
like from grown up, pretty much project management. So I decided to move on to find a different job, not because I didn't like what I was doing, but because I needed to get some more money for what I was doing. All right, so um this new job, it was easier for like negotiate and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I didn't leave my old job because I didn't like what I was doing. I love what I was doing, but I mean, it was really taking up a lot of my personal time because it's a small company and the responsibility was so much. And I felt like at that point, having like the magnitude of the task I was doing, like the pay, like the match never did much, right?
So
So
did you ask for more?
no, I did not. And the reason I didn't ask for more, this is what I meant to say before we got cut. The reason I didn't ask for more was because I knew I was already below average in what I was making. I know, companies, they're gonna hit you with like a 3%, 5%, whatever percent raise, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
easier to get like a new employer to pay you more than a current employer to pay you, that to match that. So I just literally I woke up one morning and I'm like, I need to make more money. I went on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn was it was already set up picture, and I updated
Mm-hmm.
my experience and all that. Any little certification I get update that. And so I just went on LinkedIn and got back active. I saw some connection requests. I accepted them, and there was one message. A guy reached out to me from the company I'm working at right now, asking if I'm interested in having a conversation. And like 2 days later, him called me. We talked, and I like what he was saying. He set me up for an interview, and yeah, I pretty much that's kind of how I got here, or
Cool.
where I'm at now. And there was another option too, like the thing. All right, so this is the thing. Once you're in the system, once you're in the industry, and you have experience, you'll no longer need to send out applications. Like once you go on LinkedIn, trust me, LinkedIn, forget about Facebook, forget about IG, forget about TikTok. Waste of time.
Well,
LinkedIn is a place to be.
those can get.
No, I mean, I mean, people make money from them thing there, but what I'm trying to say is, in the professional world, when I talk media professional, I'm talking, any other professional, right? LinkedIn is valuable resource. So
Mm-hmm.
I went like, so I talked to that dude.
Hunting a lot on LinkedIn.
Huh?
People headhunt a lot on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I talked to that guy. Set me up with an interview, right? And I think I set the interview for about like maybe 2 weeks from the time I talked to him. And
Mm-hmm.
so during this time, I know I'm all right. I'm actively searching for a job, right? So somebody else reached out to me via LinkedIn, and I'm like, all right, give me a call. He gave me a call, and it happened that like he'll call me. I think I had the interview for this job that I have right now on like a Wednesday. He
Mm-hmm.
called me on a Monday. He called me on a Monday and say, hey, I found somebody interested in, if I'm talking to me like for like a quick interview. I'm like, yeah man, set me up like virtual stuff. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
set me up for Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
So I had an interview with that guy on Tuesday. Him like the experience I'm have to, and again, talking to them and selling yourself, because I made sure I had some projects that I had done. I'm pulling that up on the sharing my screen and say, hey, I know how to do this. They have questions about the actual work to see if you know your stuff or if you just a show something else what somebody else do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you just not them knowing. You have to be confident in what you do. You can't just say yes or no, or yes, I can do this. You got even stuff them to ask. You kind of just elaborate, go in a little more in depth, so they know. All right, this you're no fool. Like you actually can do the work that you say you can do.
Yeah.
So So yeah, I ended up, it boiled down to these two companies, and now I can actually negotiate,
That's
right?
cool, right?
And when you start negotiate, especially the pay part, if you were making 10 grand at your current job, tell them you were making 15. And tell them you're not move if you're not make 20.
That's right.
That's
Exactly.
what that is it.
That's exactly.
Yeah, so that's how you work it, because dang, I think I probably made like 40% increase on what I was making.
Wow, that is super. But I said it to say also, like I think America does pay a bit more than Canada. But when you're in your current company, I think it's important for persons to make themselves valuable. And if it means
Of
putting in some
course.
extra time to do some extra work and stuff like that, so so important. You remember I said I started low, 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 and over
Mm-hmm.
time, over where I started, I'm probably 50% or more up from where I started. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm in my current company, I do everything. Sometimes I screen for new hires. I do training. I prepare training. I train people and just all sorts of things. So once it's there and you can negotiate to say, hey, can I get more? You're not asking. With inflation, it's very important for us to kind of consider that and let the company know if inflation is at 8% and you guys typically do a 3% increase. Now we would be at 11%. And so you kind of have to know
Mm-hmm.
first. But, anyways, yeah.
That's a good point, because I know my 1 year evaluation coming up. I'm gonna stick them up, because the same thing you do. Like right now, I'm doing everything right, and I hope nobody from there not really watch this, because I'm ready to stick. I'm ready to stick them up. They want them know the strategy.
Don't tell them the strategy. Don't tell them the
Nah,
strategy.
tell them the strategy, man. But yeah, like as you said, make yourself valuable. So try to get yourself in every little thing. So right now, part of building my value is, I have different there. It's a bigger company. Them have offices all over the nation, but I have a team leader like him, like my primary, project manager. He'll pretty much like assign tasks. But because I have the knowledge, I have and the experience, I just knock them out quick and fast, and then I say, all right, yo, I'm gonna open up to some new work, and then probably just say, all right, just talk to another team leader, them send something across, me knock that out, go to another team leader, just try knock them out like that. So over time, them see say, all right, you're not just the regular, the average employee, like you know your stuff, and you can pretty much work as a team but independently, because at the same time I now go to them and say, what you think must do here, like how must do this, like them just assign the task and knock it out. And
Exactly, exactly. And so, yeah, I think that's so important. Like for me, I manage 5 projects at a time, and they can range anywhere from 200 to a million. But,
mm,
yeah, so it's very important. And so, wrapping up now, we see your progression. We have compared it quite a bit, but I also want you to. I always end the videos like this. What would you tell somebody that's interested in migrating? What are some tips that you would have for them?
um come here with an open mind, the one thing. And I mean, not really, just you have to have a plan to have like a goal. The preparation start from before you step on the plane, and just kind of. And then once you actually get here, do you like take initiative to do your own research on stuff, because nobody not gonna hand out stuff to you. Like certain information, the area you might need the information, whoever that was here before, you might not even be interested in that area at all. So you'll realize that you have to go find the info for yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really the main thing. Like doing some research on what you want to do, and try to figure out how to execute it.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much, Kemar. Like I appreciate the different takes because people always like to say, oh, America is easy, oh, America pay enough, and blah blah blah. Canada is just foolishness. So it's good to hear perspective and another person's, even though for you it wasn't necessarily hard, but it's still good to know like where you started from and how the journey kind of started. So thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody gonna face like some kind of struggle along the process. Like my thing, it seemed like it might work out just easy for me, but at the same time, I mean, I know my personality and like things just kind of don't really make things really bother me too much. But you always have to make sure work are going in at the background. Like even though life will go through a different type of um, and so when you get what lemon make lemonade or whatever them say, but
Yep,
you
that's it.
know me, I go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
but
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Kemar, and thanks everyone for watching. Stay tuned for more.
thanks for having me.